We're here. Hey everybody, welcome to Yarn Yak. It's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Or Monday 2.0.
Or Monday 2.0, which I think a lot of people might feel like it's Monday 2.0 this week. Here in tiny Baldwin. Yeah. Did you hear what happened downtown today?
I did not.
Half of Main Street lost power for quite a few hours.
Oh yeah, this high school did.
Yeah, and the high school. Yeah, it was unpleasant for some. We were fine. We had a flicker.
We had a flicker.
We just had a flicker. Work. I don't know what happened. I haven't heard.
Somebody cutting trees on 12 and something. A branch came down, blew a transformer.
Whoops. Excuse us for this little bit of super local chit chat.
Local news.
Local news. In local news, half of Baldwin didn't have power today. Anyway, seems to be fine now.
It was so exciting.
Yeah, this is what constitutes exciting around here.
Our high school got what?
Had no power.
They did not have hot food.
Oh. Well, anyway, we are coming to you from the stash in Baldwin, Wisconsin. I am Kimmer.
I'm Carla.
And this is Yarn Yak.
Yarn Yak.
Where we yak about yarn. Anything to do with yarn that we feel like talking about, that we know anything about, or anything we want to learn about yarn.
Right.
In knit or crochet or Tunisian or, like I said,
whatever
we feel like talking about that. That's what the show is about. So if you like yarn, you're in the right place. So tonight we are yakking about hat patterns as promised. We did a hat pattern roundup.
We did.
We got a whole bunch of patterns on our Yarn Yak page on our website, which I will direct you to in a little bit, for you to click on, peruse, drool, dream, shop for, whatever, give you some ideas. There's a whole bunch. And, here's the thing about hat patterns. There is 765 million, bazillion, trillion, gazillion hat patterns online.
We didn't count them.
But I have to be close. What is the difference between megabytes and gigabytes or whatever?
I don't know.
However many gigabytes there is, that's how many hat patterns there is. That's what I think. But anyway,
moving on.
So there were so many. All we could do was be like, "Ooh, that one's cute. Ooh, that was cute," and we had like so many hours to spend on it.
Yeah.
And that's where we had to stop.
It's finite.
There's so many hours that we could spend. That was definitely not the end of the hat patterns that were good. There were so many. So we've got a bunch of them on that page linked up for you. And we also have copies of some of them here so we can show you pictures and talk about what yarn is being used and what kind of pattern it is, and go through a few of them. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But first, Carla.
Yeah.
What were you working on this week?
I made a knit hat.
You did.
I did.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
So your knitting is coming along.
Yes.
Yeah. That hat was nice and neat. Very orderly.
I know, and I did it in an evening.
And you did it in an evening. This impresses me. I couldn't knit a hat in an evening.
I did do it. However, I did have a little snafu, which I found out that the yarn I use does not like to be frogged at all or unknit. A
fact which we noted in the notes about what you were doing this week.
But the yarn was wonderful to work with. But hats shouldn't be infinity hats. That's how my brim started out, as an infinity. I admired it from afar, and I went,
you should have kept it just to show
no.
So we could like look at that and marvel as to how that could happen.
But it was
I'm
beautiful.
Sure I could do that.
It was beautiful.
I'm sure I could do that.
Yep. It was beautiful.
I don't think I could do it the right way, but I'm sure I could do that.
Right. So anyhow, that was my adventures in knitting. So evidently,
well, it turned out really pretty.
Yeah, thanks.
And I like what you were telling me about the color of creative. Okay, say it for me.
Melange.
I keep saying creative melange. Apparently, that is the super Midwest way.
That is wrong.
In Carla's words, wrong. Super Midwest way to say that word. It is melange.
It is incorrect.
It is
melange.
French.
It's French. Oh, French.
Whatevs. That yarn. It has really, really beautiful colorways, but it is interesting how it's laid down and the different dye formats that are used. They're not all the same. So like a chunk of it will be, I forgot what it's called, but it looks kind of like plaid. There's two colors and one's dripped onto the other color in a pattern, making it look kind of like plaid. Like there's like a chunk of that and then a chunk of solid, and then there's some kettle dyed parts of it. It's really interesting. So that's what makes that yarn
there's a lot going on with it. Makes the color puts a depth
it's
to
not
it.
just color
Yep,
that
it's-
changes.
right.
It's different
Yep.
dye formats that
Yep.
the colors lay down
Yeah, it's
on the yarn.
beautiful. You
So
should
yeah,
look at it.
it's interesting. And now there's a sample hat in the shop, so you can see it works. So you can be like, oh,
And you can feel it.
and
yeah.
you can, and that's the kicker with that yarn. It's warm,
Yep.
and it's chunky, and it's really soft.
Yep.
So it's nice yarn.
It is really
So
nice.
anyway, it makes what it is really good for is hats, cowls, and mittens.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
hats, cowls, and mittens. It's
You know what, though? It'd make a nice sweater, too, because
if one was feeling adventurous. And
if
didn't,
one was feeling adventurous and
didn't
maybe you
have
knit
to-
better than I did. And
or you could crochet it.
Yep,
a
absolutely.
simpler pattern.
here's
The
what I
thing
really
you want
like
to
about it.
avoid is being really adventurous with your pattern choice with that yarn, and then having to rip out a
Yep.
frog because it does like to make out with itself.
It
It's one of
does.
those
It does
yarns.
indeed.
And then it doesn't want to be broke up.
Right.
It's like two teenagers
But you know what
who
I like?
just met 3 days ago and want to get married. It's like that.
What I really like about it, too, is that after it's done, it's kind of feels lightweight, but it's warm. It's going to be so warm. If somebody were to do a sweater or like a sweater vest or something,
Sure,
it would be a nice
super
layer.
bulky, but
Yep.
it would be really warm.
It'd
See,
be very nice
I seem to have a
layering.
penchant for yarns like that right now, where I want them because I'm
Layer.
very crochet centric and I layer and I get hot. So I want things to be warm but
Right.
really lightweight. I don't
Right.
want all this extra bulk. I'm
Right.
bulky and extra enough all by myself. I don't need extra bulk, but I want to be warm.
Right,
I don't want to get cold, but I don't want to sweat.
right.
And I don't want to weigh extra, like 10 extra pounds than I
Right,
did before I put my
exactly.
sweat.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
like, I don't want much, do I?
Yes. No, not at all.
I also want to crochet, not knit. So, I mean, you know, it's like a unicorn pattern for a
Right.
sweater pattern for me. But anyway, and I made. So I'm still working on, remember that, asymmetrical poncho I had like 1 inch done, like 1.5 rows done last week during our show. I have 8 inches done on it now.
Just coming right along.
I took a picture of it just to show you.
Yeah,
So
but
I
it's
do not
so
even
squishy.
have time to have Whipofrenia right now. I do not even have time to have that. So I can't even start another one. I can't even get anywhere on that one or pick up my hooks or anything. The shop has been so busy. There's so much going on right now. So I'm really hoping to sneak little bits of time on that this week and get it over the halfway hump. Because you know how when you're working like a long rectangle like that, it seems like it's going fast and then it slows way down and you get over the halfway hump and then all of a sudden you're like, okay,
Yeah.
now we're going.
It's like
and
working
then
anything
Yeah.
in quarter to corner.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get over the halfway
Yep.
hump, and right around the halfway mark, you're like, okay, I'm never going to finish this. Why did I start
Yes,
this?
exactly.
And then you get over that, and it starts getting short rows, and you're like,
And then you see it getting done, and then it's
yeah.
like,
woo!
woo!
And then you're motivated to finish it.
Yep,
Usually, that's the
exactly.
way it works.
Yep,
Usually,
absolutely.
So that's what we've been working on this week. That's what's going on. If you ever want more information about what we've been working on, you can again go to the Yarn Yak page on our website at shopthestashbusters.com. Click on Yarn Yak at the top of the page, and you'll see whatever we've been working on, if we had time to update it, which we did this week. And you'll see an About Kimmer and About Carla page, and About Allie, which you can scroll right past if you want. There's pictures and stuff.
But stop and look at
You don't have
Allie
to
if you're
look at-
having a bad day.
if you're having a bad day, stop in and check out
Yes.
Allie's picture because we
She
love
makes me smile.
Allie's picture. It's
Yes.
so true to her personality type.
Yes,
It's awesome.
It's adorbs.
But then after those, there is an image gallery, and it's a long, long list of hat patterns that you can check out, and each one will open in its own new page, so you don't have to worry about losing one that you opened and liked.
Some are free and some are paid.
Yep.
So,
So
just
like I said,
you're
we're
aware.
gonna talk about some of them here pretty
Yep.
quick.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, you can go check them out and see what you think. Like I said, there are knit ones, crochet ones, and Tunisian crochet ones. So we're going to talk about some of the ones that you'll see on there. I'm going to switch cameras so you can see the pretty pictures of the patterns as we're talking about them, so you'll lose our pretty faces for it. So we'll be back. Here we go. So this one is called the Fia Beanie. It is a knitting pattern. This picture caught my attention because I thought that was crochet. And it looks quite a bit like a crochet scarf. I have a sample I have here in the shop. That is the 2-in-1 stitch, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's basically 2 long stitches and a short stitch all in one stitch for crochet to make a crochet stitch that sort of looks like this. So like 2 triples and a half double or 2 doubles and a single make a little bump similar to a bobble, but it's easier to do and faster. That looks like this, but this is knitting. So I was like, well, that's kind of cool because everyone's asking me how to, you know, what that is. And then the knitters, and when I say it's crochet, they're like, oh, so this is knitting and looks almost identical. So I thought that was cool. You do it on circulars. It is considered a beginner pattern. So you know how to knit and you're ready to stretch out. That's what beginner means. Beginner doesn't mean I never knitted before and I'm going to start with this pattern, in case you didn't know. So you've been knitting, you've made some flat things, you purl a little bit, you know, you can kind of do that sort of thing. Then you could go on to a pattern like this. Okay. Yeah, you need I don't know how much pattern detail you guys want me to get into, but it's mostly done in like it's a stockinette and then a variation of that. It looks like you knit, you need to know how to knit, purl, knit 2 together, purl 2 together. That is pretty easy. And that's what creates this pretty stitch set. But I just thought, let me scooch this a little bit. Look how cute that is. With this little bump, 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 bump. I just thought it was adorable.
Yeah, it almost.
And what weight of yarn are we using on this? Oh, so like a light bulk. Well, okay, light bulky weight. What size are the needles? The US 9, 5.5 millimeter. So remember, 5.5 millimeter is the same for a crochet hook or knitting needle. So it is essentially the equivalent of 1/2 a step above worsted you need to make this. So I would say you could use a Bushi worsted and get away with it. Light bulky is not actually really a Aran yarn. If it says Aran on it, you can use that. That's light bulky. So that's the Fia beanie. It's really cute. Maybe take a look at that, especially if you're a newer knitter and you want to try something out besides working flat. Probably be a good way to start on circulars.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. So the next one we want to show you is also a knit pattern. It's called the Mossy Lane hat. Let's get the hat itself on. I thought this was really pretty because I better stop moving it. Look at this like fisherman's braid pattern that's happening here. Can you see that? Isn't that cool looking? This one makes me want to try harder to knit. So this one's done also on a circular using a US 4 or a US 6. And it looks like you need a relatively small amount, 1 skein of Rios, which we have. And it looks like, so I don't know, it doesn't really declare itself by being on a skill level, but you need to know how to knit, purl, knit 2 together, the slip slit knit 2 thing, and the purl 2 together thing. And then there's like a right twist and a left twist, which they give directions on how to do. So maybe slightly more complicated than the one we showed you before and some of these other ones, but I still don't think ridiculous. Not ridiculous. Not like other things I've seen. So yeah, it looks fun. And it's called the Mossy Lane. I do not believe this one is free, but I also don't think most of the patterns that I did buy were in that $5 range. So, and a well-written pattern can be worth $4 or $5. It just, you know, depends if you're really going to use it or not, whether you should buy it or not. So that's an idea. Me and Carla are like trying to like teamwork this, showing you guys these patterns. And I'm messing up the piles, so I'm gonna stop touching things. She's making sure she's giving me the right one. I thought this one was stunning. It's called the Camden Cable Crochet Hat, and there's a right hand and a left hand pattern, so you can purchase either one. And I got it from Etsy. And this one, I do believe I have the link up. Yes, I found this one really, really late in the game today. So, but yeah, I did get the link up.
I like it because whenever I look at it, whenever I see it, what I'm thinking of are those puppy chow I think of Puppy Chow for the holiday.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know, they make Puppy Chow.
I just think it looks really squishy.
It does, and I love
I
love the pattern on it.
If I was gonna make that, I'd use like Noventa or Woolstock Aran tweed, something really thick and squishy. It'd be just gorgeous and feel like mush on your head. You know, I'm gonna use a lot of weird words tonight describing these hat patterns. So the Camden cable crochet hat from Lakeside Loops. This one looks interesting. I might try this one relatively soon, as soon as I can. As soon as I can. This is I don't think so. No, because I got it on Etsy. This one I believe was a free pattern on Ravelry. You guys will just have to click to find out if you have to pay or not. This is called the double brimmed Sawyer slouch. This is a knit pattern. Yeah, this one is pretty. I'm not sure what size. We're checking what kind of yarn you need for it. Super bulky, it says, weight 6. So weight 6 is a step above Aran. So basically anything that says super chunky, even chunky, but super chunky would be better, is what you want to use to make this. You can also, at that weight, you can also hold 2 DK or worsted together to make that weight, if you're comfortable doing that. And it'll have the same effect. You just have to remember that your 2 is 1. It's kind of a mind trick. It's like a Jedi mind trick you learn how to do really fast. If you've never tried it, just try it sometime and you'll see what I mean. All of a sudden, your brain will see 2 loops and count them as 1.
One of us.
Yeah, but this pattern also does not look, the abbreviations that you need to know to do it is one of the ways I judge whether a pattern is super complicated or not for a beginner. Yeah. And this one, again, I know what all 4 of those directions mean, and I barely knit. So cast on, knit 2 together, and purl. And all you have to know how to do to do this. And then there's instructions on how to do this double brim, which if you've never done a double brim, either knit or crochet before, it makes the part that's going around like the front of your head and over your ears is what you get doubled, and so it makes it really, really warm and extremely thick and smooshy, and some people really like that. So that's this one. And again, I believe this one was free. Don't quote me.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure it was free, but I do believe you also need a Ravelry account to get it. So don't be scared to get a Ravelry account. If you don't have one, you should get one. It's worth it to set it up and be done with it, because you can start a queue and then you have patterns in your queue, and you don't even have to buy them until you're ready to do them. You can just save them in your queue. And they also tells you a lot of other really important information about the pattern before you buy it, where like on Etsy, a lot of times they don't tell you some of that really important information before you buy it, like what kind of yarn you need. So next we have, this is the simple beginner knit hat. It's called the Basic Brimmed Beanie. I believe we taught this here at the Stash as a hat class last year or the year before.
Couple years. It was a
couple years ago.
I want to say 3 years ago.
So in the very beginning of the Stash. Yep. A lot of people did learn to use circulars using this hat pattern. So if you have never used circulars before, or you've never knit in the round before, this is your first knit hat, this is the one for you. It is extremely simple. You literally just have to know how to cast on and then knit and purl, and you can make this hat. It's a really good beginner one.
It's very, very nice. I love this pattern. It's my go-to one.
That's good to know too. For this one, you need a weight 5 yarn, a bulky yarn. So also Aran would work for that. You could use Aran weight yarn. Okay. This one I found this one I thought was interesting. It's called the Fisher hat. This picture is going to be a little difficult to see because of the color. I'm going to try lifting it up closer to the camera. There we go. Hopefully you'll see it better in the picture online, because the picture I posted online, the yarn used for the sample was different and it was much easier to see the cables. But this is a knit beanie hat, and the brim is not a fold brim. It is a decorative brim, but it has little short row cables running vertically around the brim. So it's a really good opportunity to practice knitting cables. So you have these short rows and it's repetitive as you go around, okay? But at the same time, it doesn't go up the whole hat. So it's not a big commitment if you've never made cables before. It's also doesn't look like a super complicated overall pattern. It may be helpful if you've made, like, say, one cable headband before knitting, but even without that, you could practice your cables with this. And I do believe this also was a free pattern on Ravelry. So I thought that one was cool. It was interesting looking.
Yeah, I was very interested in this one.
And this is the Hive Beanie Brianna from Hookenstein. We have a couple of her patterns. She has quite a few hat patterns. Well, not quite a few, but a handful available for free on Ravelry for you to look at. And this is one of them. I like this because it sort of gives a slouchy effect. But if you use the yarn she is calling for, which I believe is DK. Oh, she says Maker's Choice. Oh, I read it online. So if you use DK yarn, it just makes a smaller, tighter size. And if you use bulkier yarn, you get a little bit bigger hat. So that's kind of a nice way to judge or gauge your hat size. But it's these ribbed rows that sort of fold into each other and make it more like knit, very stretchy. And it has a cool effect. And then if you use color, different colors of yarn like she did here, or striping yarn, you get even more of an effect. But this is still stunning just in a solid color. And you can see all the rows a little bit better in a solid color. So, and then it has a really simple rib on the bottom. So yeah, this one's great. And this also is a fairly simple crochet pattern. It's a lot of back loop and working in the third loop using half double crochet is how you make this. So it's not complicated. Probably a really good practice pattern for working in the third loop. You'll get a lot of muscle memory built up for working in the third loop, doing these just round and around and around and around, working in the third loop. If you don't know how to do that, you can always stop in the shop and I can show you real quick where the third loop is, but you can also Google that. There's lots of people with videos showing how to find the third loop in crochet. Some people find that confusing and some people don't. So if you do, don't feel bad. I'm happy to show you. Absolutely. So some of these patterns that I brought to show you are all from one pattern maker. You've probably seen me post wild sapling crochet patterns before and talk about them, and I will tell you why I like her patterns so much. Especially for myself, I don't need a really, really super well-written pattern. I can usually figure it out. However, it's nice when you don't have to figure it out. And her patterns are written very well. I have never used a wild sapling crochet pattern that was not written to the T, orderly and perfectly, with no mistakes and no confusing parts. Everything is just kind of flows the way it ought to, and that's really nice. And they're also very easy to read, and it's also really easy to find what you need to know. So she's got yardage. She gives you 3 different yarn weights you can use to make this pattern, and tells you how much yardage you would need for each one and what size it will fit. So this is what I mean by very well written. There is no guessing. There is no doing crazy math at the yarn shop trying to figure out what you need. Her patterns are worth the $5.50. They absolutely are. And she doesn't just have hat patterns either. So if you click on one of her patterns on her hat pattern roundup, don't be afraid to go skulking around on her website and have a look at some of her shawls and other things too, because all her patterns are really good. Anyway, the open range beanie, this would be, to me, a really good spring fall, for at least for this area, a good spring fall hat. It has a little bit of open work in the stitching, and it has a really short brim. So I wouldn't wear this if it was 40 below. This wouldn't be my 40 below hat, but this would be my 20 degrees hat, maybe,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
or windy day in the spring, especially. So this is a very cute hat. You can use, again, DK, worsted, or bulky to make this hat. And she also tells you exactly what hook size to use. to get your gauge out of what yarn weight you're using. So again, no guessing. You do not have to guess anything with her patterns, which is nice. And I have quite a few of them on there for you. The next one, also a wild sapling pattern. This is like one of my favorite ones that I really want to try pretty quick here as soon as I get a chance. It's the Hillock beanie. This one you use heavy bulky or light bulky weight yarn on an L or an N hook. And I just realized you can't see it. There we go. And I first of all, I love the yarn she used. I don't know what yarn that is, but the colors are gorgeous fall colors. And I love the vertical ribbing with the dropped V's in it. The stitches, you have to know how to do a few things to do this one. So there is a stitch that, I don't know if she made it up or what, but it's called the half double crochet knit stitch. And I'm curious to find out what that is. But then the rest of it is half double, front post, half double, back post, half double, and front post double crochet, which all of those are medium, I would say light intermediate crochet stitches. So if you don't know how to do some of those, possibly maybe try doing a tutorial on the individual stitch before you attempt this pattern, just so you don't get frustrated. But yeah, this is a really pretty hat pattern. And again, another wild sapling pattern, so it's written out very perfectly with your sizes, your yardages, and the actual inches that it will fit, which is really nice, so you don't have to guess. I have a few of them. This one's called the Switchback, and I think this one is just pretty. Yeah. It's just pretty, and I see it, and I can see it in so many colors. But this right here, I am almost positive that this is whole grain from Rios, which I think I have some of this colorway. Just saying. I'm getting pretty good at that. Yes. I'm getting pretty good at that. I can look at something and be like, I think I know what yarn that is. Isn't that funny? It's such a weird little thing to have in your toolbox. Such a weird. And then she also has a penchant for these really big faux fur hat palms, which we have. If you come to the stash, we do not sell our hat palms online because we sell them for pretty cheap. So we don't want people buying them from us and then reselling them for twice as much money. So, but we do have a ton of 4 to 6 inch. So those are 6 big fat hat palms here. That look just like that, and in all kinds of colors. So they, you might have to take a hairdryer to them if you don't know that trick. If your hat palm is getting squashed, even after you buy it and bring it home and wear it for a while, that can happen. All you have to do is take it, shake it out a little bit, and hit it with the hot air on the hairdryer. Blow it out, and it'll get all fat and perfectly round again, and stay that way for a while. It's kind of cool. It's a weird little trick. It's magic. Yeah. So the Switchback, you would use a DK weight yarn to make, and it's done on a 6mm hook. She tells you need 200 yards, tells you the finished dimensions. This pattern does not have options for other sizes. I think it's a little bit older pattern of hers, but I just love the texture of it. Just love the texture of it. And it is pretty simple. It is chaining, slip stitching, single crocheting, and back loop only work. So that's how she gets those rows to look sort of like fisherman knit, is by using single crochets and slip stitches to make a stitch set. It's really cool looking. So yeah. Is that the last one? That is the last one. This is the last one we have to actually show you on the show. I shared this pattern on the Stash's Facebook page, I think early this last week. It is her newest hat pattern. It's called the Crossvine Cable Beanie. It's done with worsted yarn, which means you can use Hayfield, you can use Rios, you can use vintage, you can use, oh my gosh, what else? Ultra wool. I'm looking around in here. You can use, oh, you know what? Warmy. That with the alpaca in it, the Warmy Journeys, that'd be nice. You can also use the new yarn line that's on its way right now from Earth Yarns, the Unique Worsted is coming in, and you could use that, and that would be a fun. So that's what it looks like on. See how those rows just look at the depth between the ridges. Yes. I just love it. It's done on a 5.5mm or I hook, and that's all you need to make it. 219 yards. So for a lot of the yarn lines I just mentioned, you can do it in one skein. Yeah, really, really cool pattern. Simple, but tight, and it's just clean and neat. I really like it.
Beautiful.
And it also, I like that it doesn't have a brim. Sometimes I'd prefer a hat that doesn't have a brim, and this one doesn't. So it just ends and it's done. So
Nice. Yeah, I like that. I like the stitch.
yeah. It's an interesting.
It
it's
is.
an interesting little stitch.
And it almost looks knit from the picture.
Yeah, well, she does that a lot. She comes up with stitch sets that have a finer weave to them.
Yep.
And yeah, it works out really well. So I hope that was fun for you guys. Like I said, I promised and we delivered. Oh, I suppose you want to see us again? Here we are. Here we are with our goofy grins. Ah! Oh my gosh, you guys. Carla sent me the naughtiest but funniest little Instagram or TikTok thing or whatever. And I'm not going to tell you what it said, but it was hilarious. So if you want to see it, you want me to tell you what it is. So when you stop in, I'll show you.
Oh.
That way I risk offending people by accident. It is so funny. Oh my God. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is because I just exhausted myself laughing right before we started the show. I was like cry laughing.
It's hilarious.
She sent it to me this morning and I opened it without realizing what I was going to be looking at. My husband just started a meeting and I'm listening to this in the dining room and I am howling, holding my knees together, trying not to pee myself, laughing. And he comes out and sticks his head out. He's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, sorry. And he just gave me this funny, like, "Oh, look," or whatever. But I'm like, I'll show you tonight. So when I go home tonight, I'm going to show him why I was die laughing in the dining room this morning. He'll find it funny too. So anyway, yeah. So hey, Carla.
Yes, Kimmer.
If you were stranded on a deserted island,
yeah.
This one doesn't have yarn in it.
Okay.
If you were stranded on a deserted island, in every season, one time only, the sky would rain down a choice of one of two things.
And you have to pick one of the two things?
You have to pick one of the two things,
okay.
And that's all you get.
Oh.
That's it. That's all you get.
For like the whole time I'm on the island?
The whole time of the season.
Oh. Okay.
So it's fall on the deserted island.
Okay.
Are you with me now? What the parameters are? Okay.
I gotcha.
It's fall on the deserted island. And the deserted island god yells down from the sky and says, "What's it going to be, Carla? Pumpkin spice everything? Or just candy corn? So much candy corn. Which one would you choose?"
Pumpkin spice everything. And I'm not a pumpkin spice everything type of person, but if you're going to give me that or candy corn, it's going to be pumpkin spice. You know,
when I had this question presented to me, I was like, I choose neither. I want neither one of those. You can't. You have to choose one. So I have to choose candy corn because I hate it slightly less than pumpkin spice.
Makes me sick.
But everyone's going to be like, "Boo, hiss," and they're going to start throwing things at me right now when I say this.
No,
I hate pumpkin
because
spice.
There are two factions.
I hate pumpkin spice. But I also hate candy corn. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. It's like eating sugar crayons. Sugar crayons in little chunks.
You know
That's
what's really sad about that statement is that you've evidently eaten crayons at one.
Listen, I was 3 once, okay? It's hard to believe, but pretty sure when I was real little, I took a bite out of a crayon just to see what would happen.
Looks like licorice.
I mean, it's bright colors. I have teeth. But anyway. You telling me you never bit a crayon?
I don't think so.
Come on. You just don't remember.
Pretty sure I didn't.
Well, anyway. Well,
I would not treat my crayons that way.
Now I know what to do with
gods. I love my crayons. Yeah.
So, pumpkin spice, everything.
Pumpkin spice, I'd have to do it.
Yeah, and I'd have to do candy corn. What do you guys think?
It's just for the season.
Tell us what you think in the comments. Pumpkin spice, everything?
It doesn't have to be
just candy corn, mountains of it. Like, open your mouth. Candy corn. Oh. That was the deserted island question suggestion that was given to me for today, by the way, just so you know. So if you have a deserted island question that you like better than that one, please email it to us at AskYarnYak@gmail.com or message the stash on Facebook with it. We're happy to find new deserted island questions so we don't have to think of them. We want to know what you want to know. That's what we want to know. That makes sense? I gotta run and get the giveaway bowl. I'll be right back.
The giveaway bowl.
The giveaway bowl.
Oh, I wish I played the drums.
I have a very special giveaway tonight. Tonight, from our shoppers up until Monday of this week, so not today. Today starts a new week. If you are new to the giveaway and you didn't hear us explain this last week, we have a giveaway now on Yarn Yak when we feel like it, and I feel like it today. And what it is, well, really,
She feels like
I'll do it all the time.
No, she won't do it all the time. But
I'll
she
do it a
feels
lot.
like it most times.
So what I do is if you make an online purchase, including a class, or shop in the store from Tuesday through Monday night each week, I write your name down and put it in this bowl.
In the bowl.
It's in the bowl. And then I choose something. Sometimes it'll be a coupon. Sometimes it'll be a sticker and a coupon. Sometimes it'll be some yarn. Sometimes it'll be a notion or a little tchotchke, or there's no established value for this. It can be big, it can be small, it can be whatever I feel like doing. And this week I have a skein of Life in the Long Grass Twist and Tweeds in the color Kaolin, which is a really nice neutral color. It is a DK weight yarn. It could be used on probably half the hat patterns we just posted on
and that'd be beautiful.
And one skein would be enough, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. We only have 2 left, so I'm going to give one away this week and one away another time. So I have that for you, and I have a little Yeti sticker for you. Yeti, to give you with it. So here's the catch. I'm going to pull a name out of here, and I'm going to call your name. But we don't contact you, and we don't bug you, and we don't email you or anything like that. So if you're not watching Yarn Yak to find out if you won, you won't know you won. And if you don't pick your prize up by the end of the day on Saturday, you don't get it. It just goes back in the pot to be given away another time. We will not hold them. You can't claim them later.
Nope.
Those are the...
We don't ship
those are the rules. Yeah, we don't ship those. You have to pick them up. So... Or you can contact me to arrange shipping, but if you were in the store, hopefully you can get back to the store. So yeah, that is the deal. That is the case. So I'm gonna mix these up a little more. I already mixed them up once, but I'm gonna mix them up a little more, and I'm gonna let Carla draw this week to figure out who wins the skein of Life in the Long Grass with a Yeti sticker. Y'all warmed up?
Warm the hands up.
Here you go. Make sure you only have one. She only has one. Go ahead. Who win? Who win? Oh,
Christy Johnson
from New Richmond. Congratulations, Christy. I'll have this here for you. Hopefully you'll see this and stop in this week.
Yeah.
And I'll have it behind the register for you. So congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations, Christy.
So yeah. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed tonight's Yarn Yak episode. You can ask us yarn questions anytime by emailing us at ASKYARNYAK@gmail.com. Your question could be an episode of Yarn Yak. So that could be fun. Be sure to visit our website. Check out our Yarn Yak page. Check out all the Stashes offerings on our website. Also, zip over to our YouTube channel, which you can get to from our newsletter or our website or the Facebook page, and subscribe. Ring the bell, because then you'll know when we upload Yarn Yak episodes, when we upload tutorials or anything else. You'll get that little ding to tell you that we put something up. Also, if you like content like this, if you'd like us to keep doing Yarn Yak forever and ever, amen, you can support us by buying us a coffee or two on Buy Me a Coffee. And the link for that is a link in the description of this week's show. We really appreciate that because it helps us pay for things like lights and cameras and programs to edit videos and all this kind of stuff that it just costs money. It just costs money. And we really like doing the show. So we really appreciate the financial support. Really helps make it a little less of a difficult to do the show. So it also lets us sometimes take little trips and do fun things and record it for you guys to show you. So that's kind of it. Tune in next week. Tune in next week. Next week's episode is a surprise. I'm working on 2 different ideas at the same time, and we'll see which one comes to fruition faster.
Fruition. I love
Fruition.
that word.
Don't you love it when I use make big educated
I
words?
love big words and I cannot lie.
God. We're going to leave now before she keeps going with that. Happy yarning, my friends. We'll see you next Tuesday right here live on Facebook at 7 p.m. See ya. Have a good night.
Have a nice week.
We will if I have a mouse.
Yarn.